See that small red building? She said. There on the northern side? That's the temple of my mother, Bellona. Reyna turned towards Annabeth. Unlike your mother, Bellona has no Greek equivalent. She is fully, truly Roman. She's the goddess of protecting the homeland. Annabeth said nothing. She knew very little about the Roman goddess. She wished she had studied up, but Latin never came as easy to her as Greek. Down below, the hull of the Argo II gleamed as it floated over the forum, like some massive bronze party balloon. When the Romans go to war, Reyna continued, we first visit the Temple of Bellona. Inside is a symbolic patch of ground that represents enemy soil. We throw a spear into that ground, indicating that we are now at war. You see, Romans have always believed that offense is the best defense. In ancient times, whenever our ancestors felt threatened by their neighbors, they would invade to protect themselves. They conquered everyone around them, Annabeth said. Carthage, the Gauls, and the Greeks. Reyna let that comment hang. My point, Annabeth, is that Rome's nature to cooperate with other powers. It's not exactly full par. Every time Greek and Roman demigods have met, we've fought. Conflicts between our sides have started some of the most horrible wars in human history, especially civil wars. It doesn't have to be that way, Annabeth said. We gotta work together, or Gaia will destroy us both. I agree, Reyna said. But is cooperation possible? What if Juno's plan is flawed? Even goddesses can make mistakes. Annabeth waited for Reyna to get struck by lightning or turn into a peacock, but nothing happened. Unfortunately, Annabeth shared Reyna's doubts. Hera did make mistakes. Annabeth had nothing but trouble from the overbearing goddess, and she'd never forgive Hera for taking Percy away, even if it was for a noble cause. I don't trust the goddess, Annabeth admitted, but I do trust my friends. This isn't a trick, Reyna. We can work together. Reyna finished her cup of chocolate. She set the cup on the terrace railing and gazed over the valley as if imagining battle lines. I believe you mean it, she said, but if you go to the ancient lands, especially Rome itself, there's something you should know about your mother. Annabeth's shoulders tensed. My mother? When I lived on Circe's island, Reyna continued, we had many visitors. Once, perhaps a year before you and Percy arrived, a young man washed ashore. He was half mad from thirst and heat. He'd been drifting at sea for days. His words didn't make much sense, but he said he was a son of Athena. Reyna paused as if waiting for a reaction. Annabeth had no idea who the boy might have been. She wasn't aware of any other Athena kids who'd gone on a quest in the Sea of Monsters, but still, she felt a sense of dread. The light filtering through the grapevines made shadows writher across the ground like a swarm of bugs. What happened to the demigod? She asked. Reyna waved her hand as if the question was trivial. Circe turned him into a guinea pig, of course. He made quite a crazy little rodent. Before that, he kept raving about his failed quest. He claimed that he'd gone to Rome following the Mark of Athena. Annabeth grabbed the railing to keep her balance. Yes, Reyna said, seeing her discomfort. He kept muttering about wisdom's child, the Mark of Athena, and the giant's bane standing pale in gold. The same lines Ella was just reciting. But you say that you've never heard them before today? Not the way Ella said them. Annabeth's voice was weak. She wasn't lying. She'd never heard that prophecy, but her mother had charged her with the following Mark of Athena. And she thought that the coin in her pocket, a horrible suspicion began taking root in her mind. She remembered her mother's scathing words. She thought about the strange nightmares she'd been having lately. Did this demigod, did he explain his quest? Reyna shook her head. At the time, I had no idea what he was talking about. Much later, when I became praetor of Camp Jupiter, I began to suspect. Suspect what? There's an old legend that the praetors at Camp Jupiter have passed down through the centuries. If it's true, it may explain why our two groups of demigods have never been able to work together. It may be because of our animosity. Until this old score is finally settled, so the legend goes, Romans and Greeks will never be at peace, and the legend centers on Athena. A shrill sound pierced the air. Light flashed in the corner of Annabeth's eye. She turned in time to see an explosion blast a new crater in the forum. A burning couch tumbled through the air. Demigods scattered in panic. Giants? Annabeth reached for her dagger, which of course wasn't there. I thought the army was defeated. It isn't the giants. Reyna's eyes seethed with rage. You betrayed our trust. What? No!